I sometimes worry that we don't have a very transparent process. You know, we're located on the 5th floor of Benson, and not that location is everything, but nobody really knows how to get up here. There's no like main stairwell. You know, you either have to take the elevator or you have to take the side stairs. And we're in this closed off office and newsroom, and I kind of wonder that people just think that like, I don't even know if they know that students are putting out this paper every week, that they just kind of see it appear around campus. And so I kind of want people to know what really does go on here, and that we're students, that we're putting this together, and that this is really important work, and that they need to be reading the news. You know, it's not enough just to read national news, they need to read local news. And we are a local news organization. We serve a small campus community, and it's so important to know what's going on around you.
Oh, we live?
Wait, we're not
All right.
So I first joined the Gold and Black back when I was a freshman. It was the second semester. I had been involved heavily with the marching band my first semester, and that took up an immense amount of my time. So I didn't really have the chance to explore anything else. And so when it came to be spring semester, I suddenly found myself with all this time. And I had been involved on my high school's newspaper in the role of copy editor, and so I knew that I was really interested in editing.
My high school newspaper, Theogony, was the biggest part of my life, and I stayed after school about 3 hours every day working on it and laying it out, and it was my baby, and I didn't want to give that up when I came to college.
Well, there were a couple older kids who I knew, Dan Pacino and Ethan Bahar, and they knew that I had an interest in baseball. And so a couple times in the fall and spring semesters, they reached out to me to write a couple baseball articles when they were short in the sports section. And eventually I started coming up to the office more and became sports editor in fall of my sophomore year.
So yeah, so this is our second to last issue this week. It's very sad. So make sure, like, if you have any last things that you want to do for the semester, got 2 more chances to do them. Production starts on Sunday nights. Sunday nights at 5 are when we have our editorial board meetings. That's when the entire editorial staff comes together. We talk about the coming week. We discuss what each section is going to be doing, what they have planned, how they're going to be attacking it, who's writing, what they're writing about. And we all just kind of talk about what's going on. And that's when we also decide on our staff editorial, which is also called our left hand. It's on our second page. So that's really when production starts for us. And then throughout the week, up until Wednesday night, I try to kind of check in with some of the section editors, especially if I hear something that I think needs to be covered, because sometimes things come up last minute. You know, we can't decide on Sunday night, this is what we're going to do, and hold steadfast to that plan. Things change, and that is totally fair and acceptable. And sometimes things change last minute, and we just have to deal with that.
So on production night, we all come up here, and everyone comes up in the late afternoon on Wednesday and starts laying out articles, and when they've done that, they print them out.
By the time Wednesday rolls around, I normally get up here. I got out of class about 1:45, so I'm normally up here by 2.
So right now I'm working on the left hand, which is basically our staff editorial. So at the beginning of the production cycle, we talk as a group and we decide what issue we think is important and we should discuss as a staff and take a stance on. So this week we're writing about the fact that the South Florida Sun Sentinel, which is a local publication, won the highest award, the Pulitzer Prize.
Each page is subject to 3 rounds of editing from the Lillian and Wren, and that process goes on late into the night.
I'm doing the editing on the pages. So for me, I'm basically waiting for the section editors to finish placing the pages so that I can then edit the text and layout of said pages.
Oh, did you use another one for...
Wait, Ren, did you finish reading
a
18?
Ouija
Yeah.
board? Ouija board?
Didn't I?
I don't know.
Ouija board?
Just
Ouija
chilling.
board?
Oh.
I was always so scared.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait. 18?
So before I was editor-in-chief, so when I joined, by the end of my freshman year, I was assistant news editor.
I started out as a production assistant when I was a freshman, first semester. And then that fall, I became assistant news editor.
I was sports editor in the fall and spring of my sophomore year, news editor in the fall of this year, and now I'm print managing editor.
And I was assistant news editor until like halfway through fall semester of my sophomore year when I became news editor, and then I was there for 3 semesters, so up until last fall semester. I just was in the news section the entire time, and now here I am as editor-in-chief.
And I continued in that until the end of freshman year. And then I was news editor for a semester. And then I was digital media editor for a semester. And this is my second semester as online managing editor.
I remember that shit. I remember that.
Finger for food.
Yeah. That's in statistics one day.
Windmill for the land that I'm forever high. Take it all out on your stride.
Progression, salary,
How many hours a week would you say you spend working on the paper?
Oh geez, a lot.
What time is it?
I would say that on Wednesday nights it can range anywhere from 10 to 14 hours of production.
I can't even really add it up because honestly it's indefinite hours on Wednesday.
I don't know. Average week, 12 to 14 hours a week.
And then I think about, on average, pretty much every other day of the week, I'm spending about 2 hours on OGB related stuff. This can just be planning out content, talking to our section editors, or just I get a lot of emails and those take time. So I would definitely say, 2 hours, 6 days a week, and then average 13 hours 1 day a week, whatever that totals up to. It's a lot.
Probably about 2 hours on Thursdays and an hour or 2 writing my weekly op-ed.
And what is it like working with the rest of the staff?
It's very fun, especially this time of night when everyone's guard's down. I'm feeling unusual right now. Everyone acts differently when we spend this much time in the office, and it's impossible not to get to know somebody when you have to spend this much time with them. So we've developed a lot of strong relationships. Real tight. You gotta get good at this maneuver, right?
Oh, I tried to teach myself how to juggle once and it was
Just like
crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
A specific memory. I don't know. It's all jumbled together. This place is it's a black hole. 2 years of collective memory just jumbled into I don't know. I wasn't prepared for this.
And everyone knows that I love Moe's chips, and this is like this weird tiny little thing, but whenever like Olivia gets Moe's, she'll like bring me my favorite salsa, and I just think that's like the cutest thing in the world, and it just like is one of those things that's just like emblematic of like how close we can all become because of the old Golden Black.
What's it like working with the rest of the staff?
It's amazing. They are some of the best people on campus. I love them all dearly, and they're all so much fun, and we have great relationships.
A lot of these people here are all my closest friends, and I love them so much, and I love that I get to come to this newsroom on the top floor of Benson every week and meet these people who I necessarily wouldn't have met otherwise, and we all come from different friend groups, different backgrounds, different interests, and social groups, and I just think that it's so great that we can all come together. You know, these are people who I've gotten to know very well. I love them and I rely on them so much.
And it is 2:45 in the morning right now.
It's
like
2:52.
2:52.
And then I'm up here right now, you know, it's almost 4 in the morning, and this is just kind of a normal night for us when we're up here pretty late. We all come up, section editors are responsible for laying out their pages, and then me along with Ren and Amanda, our print and online managing editors, we have to read through all 20 pages of the newspaper to proof it, check for edits, check for content, AP style, our own style guide. And so we just kind of go through this night, and I also make sure that I'm talking to section editors about, you know, if there are specific content things and more like meaty macro editing, things that need to be changed or worked through, and we like to have these kind of editorial discussions where we're really talking about them. I don't, you know, like to just dictate, so I just make sure that I try to be in conversation with all of my editors.
Wait, that's everything!
That's everything.
Jesus.
My favorite part is when the new edition in print comes out on Thursdays, and you can see it, and you can have this like physical manifestation of all the work that we put in.
So had someone said your freshman year you would be editor-in-chief now, what would you have said?
Even probably up until some point last semester, if somebody had told me that, I don't think that I would have believed them. I think maybe I could have believed some other higher managing editorial position, but not editor-in-chief. I don't think that I would have ever believed them. It's just such an honor to be in this position. I think the better question is what aren't the main responsibilities of being editor-in-chief. A lot of things kind of just end up falling to me as my responsibility. I oversee everything. I help oversee all of our editorial. I am responsible for all of our content. I am also partly responsible for our business operations, social media. Everything that we do is technically my responsibility. I do have a great staff that I can delegate to, but essentially everything is up to me. So at the very end of the night, when all the edits have been made, I go through all the PDFs to make sure that all the pages are right. I look at things like dates and making sure like I look for edits that I know that I personally made to make sure that it is the right version of the PDF. And so then once I'm done going through all of these, it kind of takes a little bit because I like to really look thoroughly over them. We do something that's called fetching, which I will show you in a moment. It's our term for how we send all our files over to the printer.
You know when things are showing up and even
Okay, so then we've connected to this program, and then I go through and I take all 20 pages of PDFs, and then I just drag it on over,
I have a labor market.
and then I just wait for it to all
But
go.
it's not due until 2.
And that's
I don't
fetching.
know that.
Yeah. And honestly, I still kind of, every once in a while, like, I can't fall asleep, like, on Wednesday nights, because I'm, like, terrified that I didn't do something. Normally it gets around here around 2 p.m., which is a really fast turnaround, I think.
I would say that they should pick up the paper because they have no idea how much blood, sweat, and tears goes into every single issue.
We're providing coverage of things that no other news outlet is covering, and we're doing it in a way that is completely balanced and fair. And I don't think that any student or faculty member is going to get the kind of information that we provide from any other campus source.
I would say that responsibilities for the week are never truly done because as one edition is cycling down, the other is starting to ramp up. So there's not really ever a lull in OGB. This is our last.
Yeah, that's why I'm sad.
We didn't know the book.
Did you not realize that?
And Alexander wept, for there were no worlds left to conquer.
Okay.
I think I just cursed on camera. I'm sorry.
My
Okay, it was a really
my
tender
thought
moment.
is that I'm tired as fuck because it's 3:30 a.m.
I'm
Well,
surprisingly awake, and I
yeah,
will be for
I
a
am
while.
too.
I'm energized.
So
by
my
what we
thing
do.
is that this is the last production night with the people who I've been doing OGB with since I first got to Wake. So that's sad because I'm going abroad and then I'll come back and it'll be a whole different editorial staff, which is exciting, but it just won't be the same.
But we
Well,
still have grad
that's-
tab. We
But
still
we
have
still
grad
have
tab.
grad tab.